they have made it and they are ready to launch. For this, I said, okay, fine, we can go ahead and see how it will work out. But these two centers that proposed are very unique, even in the country. So we can claim that again, our university is unique in the initiating some of the programs. So this we can say that. So Center for Agamic Studies and Indian Knowledge Systems, and also Center for Rock Art and Cognitive Studies. When I was searching literature of this Pondicherry and also part of Tamil Nadu, this has one of the oldest temples that we have in this region. As older than or even much before the Western countries that they have started the huge buildings or the constructions. Though I cannot name some of them, but the biggest towers that we are having in the temples, we do not know what technology that they have used it, but they are still existing without any damage despite several environmental catastrophes that has been facing. So, and this region is actually, as you know, that prone for many cyclones. So, despite that, they are intact. So, what we should understand is along with the culture, what kind of technology that they have been imparted during those days is also part of the IKS. So, we should make into two particular parts in this. One is the technological aspect of it, the other one is religious aspect of it, how the ancient system or ancient world, how it has been placed at different time periods. So this is going to be one of the unique, and also if any faculty from the department would like to contribute for the research in identifying what are the backgrounds of uniqueness in these areas, can be really worthwhile to look into that, and there are funds are available for this. Another beautiful part is, okay, so you can tap the funds also. So that is another important aspect of it. And the other one is the Center for Rock Art and Cognitive Studies. So this is also another unique one. Rock art, say maybe Professor Chandramodi can give more details on this one. These are the rocks, actually they reveal how the human evolution has initiated, how the human civilization has been transformed. I think the forest ecosystem, so earlier the human beings, they started only in the forest, they lived isolation or colonial. So when the culture started is the biggest question for the scientific community. When the culture started. So what do you mean by the culture then? So culture is, if you see most of you must be seeing the National Geography channels, right? Discovery channels, where lions or the tigers are all wild animals. If they get injured, they die. They die, that's all. Because one thing is, they cannot hunt for their food. Second thing is, in the food web, they also become part of the food web, and other animals scavengers will attack and they kill. Not only to the animals, but this is also happens to the human beings also. In the earlier civilization, if somebody, imagine during the evolution, the human beings, they lived in a caveman, let us say. If somebody got injured, if the leg has been fractured during the fighting or during the hunting the animals, so what will happen to him? How he will survive? So he will die because he will not get the food. See, normally civilization has not started, or culture not have started to taking care of such a kind of persons. The earlier ancient history, when they are excavating the fossils, they found that one human being with a pelvic girdle fracture, later they survived for 20 years or 30 years. So this whole story indicates that normally when a person got injured during those days, they leave and they go, that's all. So they see that culture is not there to sit with him. But at the fossilization, they found that the human, after the fracture, it's a biggest fracture also they survived, means the human beings around them must have taken care until they recovered, that person got recovered. So that is the point where the human civilization and the culture started actually. Before that, nobody cares for anybody. That's all. It's only survival of the fittest. So see, these are all certain actually historical events or scientific evidences that when we go through the literature or when you do the research and all, you will be able to pick up or understand and contribute, and also you can publish so that the entire world will understand what it is happening. So that is the whole essence of the research in this. And this program or the course will definitely essentially to educate the people on these lines. So how can they, what is the importance of these studies and how they are going to contribute for the Indian knowledge system and all. Okay. So though initially we may not get the very good number of candidates, but since we are starting initiating, I wish the department will take care of the issues and address them. See that the reasonable number of candidates they join for the course program, and it will continue. So see, whatever the programs that we are starting, we should always see the sustainability. So program should sustain. So let's not start anything just on the sake of paper or advertisement or the MOU exchange and all. So let us see that plan such a way that they should have the sustainability of the program continuously. So this is also responsibility of the coordinator and also the parent department. I wish this will sustain and continue. So I wish the program coordinator and the department best of luck in the future endeavors of running this particular program. So thank you. So over to Professor Chandrababu.
So the idea to establish a Center for Agamic Studies and Indian Knowledge Systems came up during the informal discussions with the academia during the 5-day international seminar on Tantric religion held in September 2023 in our university. Even the foreign scholars such as Michael Slauber of Western Washington University, Professor Staneshwar Tamalsina of San Diego State University, Professor Ratanlal Anglu, former Vice-Chancellor of our university, all of them suggested that a research center focusing on the study of the temple culture of South India is the desideratum. And during the course of the 5-day international seminar, Professor Madhu Khanna, a leading expert on Tantric religion, encouraged me by coming forward to be one of the patrons for the center. Her idea is to start a short-term certificate course, subsequently blossomed into a 1-year PG diploma course, and today, with the blessings of our Vice-Chancellor, this center is being inaugurated. And what is an interesting coincidence is that today is the birthday of Professor Madhu Khanna, which also happens to be Thursday, which is so dear to me. And then on this very auspicious occasion, this center is being inaugurated by our esteemed Vice-Chancellor. And I should also remember the assistance of Professor Taranika Rasu, Director of Studies, and when he was the in-charge VC, he supported our efforts and extended his cooperation. My faculty colleagues in the department participated in the extensive discussions in framing the rules and regulations, eligibility criteria, and other minute details of the curriculum, and stood as a pillar of strength behind me in all the efforts. Today's fructification of the two centers is the outcome of the collective efforts of the faculty of the Department of History. I should mention here that the guest of honor of today's function, Dr. Kishore Kumar Tripathi, Member Secretary Aurav Bharati, Sri Aurobindo Society, Pondicherry, came forward enthusiastically to collaborate with us in providing the academic, administrative and logistical support. We had extensive discussions in his office and I am fortunate to receive his warm hospitality and academic and professional support. I immensely thank him for being with us today on this happy occasion. Our Honorable Vice-Chancellor, in my very first meeting with him, commended our effort in preparing the proposal of the 2 research centers and wholeheartedly supported them. He said, when they are doing good for the department, you go ahead. These are the words, actual words which were given by him. He said that he will support the department in all its innovative academic activities. He saw to it that everything will work in a seamless manner. He wanted this inauguration take place immediately and fixed the date and time of today's function, despite his extremely busy schedule. As you all know, he was in Gujarat, and immediately after coming back, he responded to my message and said that let us do it on so and so day. The Center for Agamic Studies and Indian Knowledge Systems is very unique in being the first of its kind outside the Western world. It should be mentioned here that there are more than 60 research centers in Europe and America focusing on the study of Indic religions. Unfortunately, none of them are in India. This center will thus fill in the lacuna to a certain extent. The center is also planned to be run in a public-private partnership mode, as Professor Vice-Chancellor is suggesting. We will start working for the sponsors once the academic program is grounded and is in progress. In the initial stage, we need the material support in the form of guest faculty, and I request our Honorable Vice-Chancellor to extend his support to us. I also request him to send the proposal of these 2 centers for approval to the Indian Knowledge Systems Division of the Ministry of Education, which have called for proposals for the new research centers. So the July 31st is the last date, and all approvals have been done. We can send them for approval. So with these words, I once again thank our esteemed Vice-Chancellor for his generosity in inaugurating these 2 centers. And now I request Dr. Roman Banerjee to say a few words about the Center for Rock Art and Cognitive Studies.
Today I am filled with immense pride and slightly overwhelmed in the best way possible to be with you all as we open the doors to our brand new research center on rock art and cognitive studies here at Pondicherry University. The establishment of the Center of Rock Art and Cognitive Studies and the launch of this diploma program are testaments to our university's dedication to innovation, interdisciplinary excellence, and the exploration of humanity's most ancient and enduring legacies. This center is a launchpad for exploring the origins of human cognition, symbolism, storytelling, art and culture through some of the earliest marks humans ever made. This center is built at the crossroads of disciplines: archaeology, cognitive science, anthropology, philosophy, psychology, digital humanities, and more. This center represents a significant leap forward in our commitment to interdisciplinary research and education. For too long, the study of rock art, humanity's oldest artistic expressions, have been fragmented across various disciplines. Here, at this new center, we aim to bridge those gaps, fostering a holistic understanding by integrating the rich insights of archaeology, anthropology, art history, and crucially, cognitive sciences. It's a place for asking questions like, what did that handprint on the cave wall mean? Why do humans need to create art? How did visual expressions evolve with consciousness? And we are not only doing this solo. We will be collaborating with international institutions, indigenous communities, cognitive researchers, AI experts, and field archaeologists to create a rich, inclusive, and tech-savvy approach to studying rock art. We will explore how these ancient visual narratives reflect complex social structures, spiritual beliefs, and environmental adaptations of our ancestors. In the near future, we envisage to build a state-of-the-art digital lab for analyzing and preserving rock art, a virtual reality studio to reimagine ancient cave and rock shelter spaces, a cognitive lab to study perception, memory, and color symbolism across time. Alongside the center, we are also launching a one-year diploma in rock art and cognitive studies, a fully immersive interdisciplinary program for the curious minds. Whether you are a student, an artist, a field researcher, or just someone who loves ancient mysteries and deep ideas, this program is for you. It includes core modules on cognitive archaeology, absolute and relative dating methods, visual culture, the neuroscience of art, and rock art interpretation, documentation methodologies, and fieldwork opportunities at rock art sites across the country. workshops with indigenous scholars and knowledge keepers, hands-on training in digital documentation and heritage conservation. And yes, there's ample space for research projects because we want the voice of the students in this field. Finally, our goal is to shape a new generation of thinkers who understand that art isn't just aesthetic, it's cognitive, it's social, and it's fundamental to being human. To everyone who helped bring this vision to life, thank you. This is more than an academic milestone. It's a mission to bridge the ancient and the future, the visible and the invisible, the science and the soul. If you are wondering whether this field is relevant in today's world, think about this. The stories carved into stones and painted on the cave walls may be our earliest attempts at consciousness. Understanding them might be our best chance at understanding ourselves. Thank you and welcome to the future of ancient studies. We invite you all to engage with the center, explore the diploma program and join us on this incredible journey of discovery. Thank you.
Respected Vice-Chancellor, Sir, Professor Prakash Babu, and HODs of departments of Pondicherry University, centers, heads, research scholars, and our guest of honor, Dr. Kishore Kumar Tirupati, HOD of my department, Dr. Chandramouli, my faculty colleagues. I wish you all a very pleasant afternoon today. You are all assembled here for starting this, or I should say virtual launching of the two centers, as our Vice-Chancellor rightly mentioned. These are unique and also one of its kind across the country. And while launching this, I express my gratitude for all the people who have been very supportive of this, and especially I should say that the very idea of launching the center came out during that international conference, and the embers were kept alive by Dr. Chandramouli, and he has taken a lot of persistent effort to launch these centers. I appreciate that, and I hope the center continues its good work, doing some research project and also offering PG diploma, which we did with a very rigorous way. The syllabus was done and the modalities were done, and the school board also approved of it. And we feel that even though the initial response may not be what we expected for this postgraduate diploma, we hope to improve in the course of time. And during this occasion, this afternoon, I want to tell you something interesting about this Agamic studies, because there is a general misconception that Agamas are about rituals. They are not merely about rituals. There are so many other things that are connected with Agamic studies. And really it's a wealth of knowledge that we will get by pursuing these Agamic studies, and also rock art, which has a global presence. And India's rock art in the global context is something that will put India on the level of the world universal history. And therefore, these two centers and their subjects are really very relevant in the present day context. But I would like to tell you here about a legendary devotee by name Pusala Nayanar, who lived in the 18th century contemporaneously with King Rajashima Pallava. Actually, Pusala wanted to build a temple for Shiva. He was a devotee of Shiva, but he didn't have the material for it. So he decided to build it in his heart, following all Agamic procedures, appointing a day for starting the procedure, and continuously he was building that according to the temple construction procedures, and he was doing it. When Rajashima Pallava was building a very grand temple for Lord Shiva in Kanchipuram, and the previous day, when he had fixed a day for the consecration of the temple, the God appears in his dream and says, "You postpone your event for one more day, because we have decided to enter the temple of Pusala in Tirunindravur." Tirunindravur is the metropolitan limits of Chennai. And so the king became very curious. He wanted to know, why is that temple so important for the God? He is not coming to my temple, but he is willing to go there. So with all his parivaram, he goes to Tirunindravur and he inquires, and people say there is no such temple. And then finally he comes to Pusala and asks him, where is the temple? Then he says, the temple is in my heart. So very humbly he states how, according to the Agamic tradition, he had built that temple. So God resided in that temple, which was built by that devotee, and this is where we find that Agamic tradition is not a ritual tradition, or is not about mere rituals, but it is something that is having the unique blessings of God Himself. And so this story tells us the importance of Indian knowledge system and how we have, even before today we talk about virtual institutions, virtual this thing, but this virtualization happened even in the 8th century, if we understand the devotion of our saints and others whose life was devoted to all the good works. And therefore, I find today this virtual launching has happened. So I find that connection. The center is also launched virtually, and I am really thankful to our Vice-Chancellor for having graced this occasion and starting it with the release of the posters. And because of his positive approach, I definitely feel that it will take off very well. So with these few words, I also want to remember the support that we had from Professor Tharani Karasu, who was actually behind the Department of History, behind the head of the department, asking them to pursue with this proposal. Therefore, any address will not be full if we don't express our gratitude. So I express my thanks for all those who present here and all your good wishes. Thank you.
The Vice-Chancellor of this prestigious university, Professor P. Prakash Babu sir. And if I am here today, the credit goes to the former Vice-Chancellor, Professor Tharani Karasuji, because in one of the international conferences sir, we hosted recently studying the Vedapuri tradition of this Pondicherry, sir suggested me, we are launching a project, would you like to support for this? I told sir, my role will be like a squirrel's role. So you are making a big setu, so I definitely like a squirrel, I'll contribute. I'd like to say something. Since these two centers has been launched from the auspicious support from the history department, it is not only the Indian history, but also the world history. When we study how these movements were started, once upon a time there were civilizations. But unfortunately, when these civilizations came in contact with each other, they forgot how to live in a harmonious way. They fought with each other actually. They fought the consciousness of unity and harmony. What happened? The civilization concept was broken. The concept of nation came, rise up nations. So this problem is still going on, fragmenting the civilizations and creating the new nations. If you study the movements of the people on the earth, many civilizations destroyed and new countries were evolved. But if you study the phenomenal, this movement of these people on earth, we find there is a place, like the great Indologist Professor Max Muller has also mentioned in one of his speeches, India, what it can teach us. 5 lectures, the book name is India, what it can teach us. He has mentioned that if I would ask that which is the place where people are talking about the spirit, the Atman and Paramatman, I should point to India. So when these movements were going on in the world history, people, our ancient rishis, sitting in the caves, they were exploring the divine knowledge, which you talk about ancient knowledge. But I feel the knowledge has its universal dimension. There is no ancient knowledge, no modern or no future, if we know how to utilize that knowledge in a particular manner. When we talk about these Indian knowledge systems, thanks to the esteemed Ministry of Education, the Honorable Minister Sri Dharmendra Pradhanji, and the dynamic leadership of the current Prime Minister, they have given a special emphasis for the study of Indian knowledge systems, particularly interpreting our history. When we study the colonial setups, they say India is a rich country but inhabited by the poor. When I was a student, I was reading some of the books, how it is so horribly interpreted, our history, our scientific movements, our progresses, all these, it has to be reinterpreted. Like I would like to tell this man, nature and universe, this is basically the triple unifications of the evolution process. So it is not only the human beings, but also the animals, the plants, and the nature has its sustainability to contribute something to the evolution system. Sri Aurobindo has written a very beautiful lines in his famous epic Savitri. He says, there is the book of beings index page. The text and glossary of the Vedic truths are there. The nature's correspondence with the soul are written in the mystic hearts of life. When we talk about the Indian knowledge systems, we have to see how the Rishi Madhuchandas through the Vedic hymns, they have developed the science of converting the thoughts into the language. If you visit to the Trishur, the famous Gurukulas are there are students, those who have the memory to recite 10,580 mantras of the Rigveda. They do not have, it's completely a paperless system. The exam goes through orally. They have to completely memorize the Rigveda traditions. It is one of the oldest systems. When we talk about the atomic theories also, Rishi Konad also mentioned about that. When I was a master student in 2002, sir, I met one of the professors. He was mentioning something about Rishi Bharadwaja's Viman Shastram, the aeronautical sciences, and he presented a paper by using the solar energy, it can be converted into the fuels. And some of the Australian scientists are doing some researches. It was in 2004. Okay. So when we talk about this Indian knowledge systems, Agamic studies, rock art and cognitive knowledge systems, you see, now we have plenty of resources, books, e-resources, physical resources. But that time the technique was something different. Can we imagine how difficult it is to engrave some of these symbolic knowledges on the stones? If you go to the Konark, you will see it is basically this called the language of the stones, interaction of the human being to the stones, the animals, the plants. So basically, this is really a tremendous and very unique effort. And it is not only to talk about the past, because there is a famous saying I recall here, past meet with the present and it creates the future. What the esteemed Vice-Chancellors have pointed out about the sustainability. Kindly allow me to tell you, nowadays everyone talks about SDG, Sustainable Development Goals, and totally there are 17, and unfortunately culture is not there. Culture is a very neglected subject, not only in the international, they talk about intangible cultural heritage, world heritage programs, memory of the world registers, but SDGs goals, culture is not there. So although we talk about many systems, but that international scenario has to address such critical issues. And when we talk about culture, it is not only focusing on the ancient systems, because the society has changed. It has crossed the intercultural understanding, the multiculturalism is there, pluriculturalism is also there. So in this process, I hope knowledge systems like this can support us to really understand our past. So here kindly allow me to tell you, because earlier I was part of the central government institutions under the Ministry of Culture. I had the privilege to work with some innovative projects. For example, in 2016, the yoga was included under UNESCO's this International Day. But before that, India also got another recognition, that is yoga as intangible cultural heritage. So I was fortunate enough to be part of the subgroup advisory committee. We had 7 members. We prepared the dossier, videos, recommendations, everything. The Ministry of Culture, Government of India submitted to the UNESCO, and it was included. So we have many unique things. When we talk about these traditions, esteemed sir and the head of the department also mentioned, we have numerous literatures. So we can reinterpret our history. It is not like the people say India is a rich country but inhabited by the poor. We are not poor. Basically, physical health is not our physical wealth is not our wealth. We also talk about spiritual things. And sir also pointed about the sustainability. So I request, we had a long discussion with the esteemed head of the Department of History, Professor Chandramouli. Definitely sure, when the society is also affiliated with the DSIR, we can apply some of the DST projects, and connecting the institutions, whatever Indian knowledge systems and other resources will definitely support for this. Maybe some good research projects we can start in collaboration with the department. Now a question comes, everywhere we talk about the Indian knowledge systems, but what exactly we can address? I'll just give one example. Sir, when we study the Vedapuri tradition, we came to know that there was a temple of Lord Rama near the seashore, and due to cyclone, the temple was currently, it has undergone to the, basically the study of the underwater archaeology. So maybe some of the innovative projects like this we can take up, and reinterpreting, like the sir mentioned about the Bahu temple. There was mention about the Gurukul where 1,000 students were studying the Vedas. So connecting the institutions, creating good research projects, connecting the people worldwide, and some meaningful programs can add something. And greatest institutions like FICCI, ASSOCHAM, ICRIER, they have a unique trend to address the critical issues in forms of research. So definitely we will support for this initiative, and whatever way And we hope that in a collective consciousness, we can do something. And I'm just representing the mother's vision here, because here in the society, the ashram and Auroville Foundation, it was created by the mother. So we have a huge avenue, like Shrivindu Society, so we have 300 branches all over India except Ladakh. And in 1968, Auroville Foundation was established with mother's vision to create an international city. And so it will not be confined to any rituals or temple sculptures. We can also take up some of the unique projects about science of consciousness studies, how this land has given to the world. Because Pondicherry has something unique to give, because it is called the French River of the East. It is the Vedapuri tradition. The Saiva manuscripts are included under the UNESCO's intangible list. So these are the things we can give a lot of things to the world. So I do not want to talk much because a lot of things has to be done. So with this, I am very much thankful to the Honorable Vice-Chancellor, Pondicherry University, and the esteemed colleague from the History Department, Professor Chandramouli, and Dr. G. Chandrika ji. It is really a matter of pleasure to listen to you, ma'am, and all the faculty members and students for giving me this opportunity. I hope we have started a huge responsibility. It will not finish with the program, but the real work starts now. So end is the beginning. Thank you so much with these words. Thanks to all of you.